Good afternoon, everyone. It's Brodie here, and I've also got the wonderful Satinder from the Best Life OT. How are you going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really well, and thank you so much for your time today. And I'm really excited to be talking about all things health and wellness, and also about our health journey together. So to get into it now, so I just want to ask you the question that I've been asking a lot of people when I get them on my GTV is, how has the pandemic, COVID-19, impacted your mental well-being?
hmm So thank you for having me here, Brady. Uh, COVID for me, just I feel like everyone else, there was a lot of feeling like I wasn't being productive enough, and that was really starting to impact my confidence and just in general my perception of myself. But I think after I started to OT myself and give myself some routines and habits, I really found like a deeper level of calmness. But yeah, definitely at the start, especially, there was a lot of that feeling of just not feeling productive. What about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. With the pandemic, as people have known, I lost my job in May, and I lost, going to work that Monday to Friday, that working with clients. We were speaking before, that job was working in high care. So the pandemic has definitely, um, I'm going to say it has, but obviously at the moment as we're speaking now, that I've just started this new role, and I'm getting stronger. But the pandemic has impacted my mental well-being to um, checking myself into mental health unit for over a week when I was feeling unsafe at home. And yeah, when I lost my job, I felt like I lost my purpose. As a male, we've got the stigma of having to provide. Um,
hmm
and it's definitely, I'm talking just general. For me, obviously, I want to provide for my wife and she provides for me. It's, you know, I just felt, yeah, I lost my purpose and I lost my income and I lost everything that I thought. But what the pandemic has taught me is that I found out who Brodie is and what Brodie um, can really offer the world once he, sits with himself as
Yeah.
well.
Yep. Amazing.
And also, guys, I'm going to be asking questions to Tina, then she'll be asking me as well. So I just thought I'd check, everybody check her out on the Best Life OT on Instagram. And I'll be putting this video on Instagram as well, just in case I didn't let people know that. So this is a really good question as well. Have there been any deeper life lessons that has come out of COVID-19?
You, yeah, you literally just touched on it, like sitting with ourselves. And
Mm,
other if it wasn't for COVID, I would still be traveling, going to beaches, going to the mountains every single week, doing something and keeping myself busy. Whereas, instead I was just at home with myself. And then that just opened up this whole, I don't know, Pandora's box of who I was.
mm,
And just being still and not having to be busy all the time. And I realized that in my mind, I've told myself that I always have to be busy and doing something. Whereas, especially in India, in Punjab, people are, absolutely fine doing nothing for days and weeks. And that's something that I really took out, like a good lesson that I took. And I actually made a post about that as well.
mm.
Stillness in Punjab on my blog post. That's, yeah, the main thing that I've changed in myself, because I used to be like a really big overthinker
Yeah,
and always just, yeah, racing mind and stuff. So that's been the biggest change in my life.
I
And I
love
think
that.
I'll keep that forever.
Mm. And you were saying that you're still situated in India at the moment. How has I know that the lockdown for you, how long were you in lockdown for?
Well, India is technically still in lockdown. It's just people aren't adhering to the law as much.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that must be really tough.
but yeah, since March.
Yeah. and like I find that when people, as you said, the beaches and going to the mountains, that's part of your self-care. And I think once it's like taken away from us that we can't do it at, that certain time, it makes us think like, I think it gives us gratitude of how lucky, we get to do that on a, daily, weekly basis kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And yourself, any deeper life lessons from COVID?
Yeah, to put myself first, to love myself, for all my diagnosis, all my trauma. I've really been on such a healing journey, and that's how we found each other on Instagram as well. Like I've interviewed some incredible people. I've been on podcasts with some people that work with the deeper subconscious brain, done personal development that that coaches have done with like Tony Robbins and Joe Dispenza, and like just incredible things that I put money towards my health. Talking about mind, body, and soul. Eating clean, going to the gym more, meditating, gratitude, journaling. I bought a chakra balance toolkit in the shops, and I'm still learning that as well. So I think it's just connecting with people that really fill your cup up. And I know we were chatting like how you are, like you said, how was your morning? And I said it was very stressful because I'm always keeping busy. Like I'm always like, I've got this and I've got that. And I even forgot that I had that conversation. We moved the podcast to the next day because in my brain, I've always got to keep busy. So it's going to be very different when I go back to work, what that looks like, because I've been working on this Instagram account, but also as a coach as well. So I think the deeper life lessons is that it's okay to be still. It's okay to not know what tomorrow brings. And I know people that suffer or experience, I don't like the word suffer, experience anxiety and depression, that, it will pass. And I find that every time something happens, a trigger, it's actually telling us something. And if you keep putting a band-aid on it, this is just my personal opinion, if you keep putting a band-aid on your life concerns, it's just going to come back,
Yeah,
and keep coming back until you face it. So
exactly. And that's amazing that you've like you know uh what's the word in English? You've developed so many like self-care strategies for yourself in this year. Like that's amazing.
thank you. Yeah, no, it's when people say self-care, and it'll be interesting to see your perspective as well, because people go, oh, self-care, I don't have time for myself, or I don't have money for self-care. But if we break it down to, running a hot cold bath, contrast therapy, you could clean your, like, I can't speak today, sorry. Reboot. Clean your bed sheets, change your pillow, put some lavender spray on your pillow, like little things, like quite affordable things to get, like sitting with yourself, coloring in, just putting time out for yourself. And I know that I put so much time on my Instagram about my life and my life experiences, and I know that you've used your life experience for your line of work as well. Like if we keep, giving people all of our energy and we have nothing left, that's where self-care just needs to be in your forefront, where you just need to,
Yep.
you need to put yourself first. I've experienced intense burnout, been in hospital more times than I was in the office, experienced panic attacks, been on medication. So yeah, I'm not just saying this story to make conversation. This is my life, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Like it comes from, a lot of development. So when you do go through a lot of pain and trauma, there's always life lessons in that.
Mm. I listened to this interview a few weeks ago. Yeah, a few weeks ago, and she was saying that one of the best things that we can do as OTs or any health profession is be the best version of ourselves. And she was really
Mm,
honing in that the only person we can change is ourselves. And the more we improve ourselves, the better we will be able to listen to the other person and hold space for the other person, because we can't change the other person. The only person we can change is ourselves. And so
mm,
it's like, yeah, so important. And with self-care, my simple definition is any intentional time we take out for ourselves.
I love that.
Yeah.
Short, sweet, and specific. So love it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I think that was going to lead into the next question. It's been like, what has been the most impactful lesson in your mental health recovery? It could be personal, it could be professional, um, that you'd like to share.
Mm. Um, I think it would just be the overthinking. Like I just used to think so much all the time, like even at work and everything. And yeah, so much burnout from that. And just letting go of that and being like, I can literally be blank and not feel guilty about it. Yeah, that's the one thing that's coming to my mind.
I love that. And I think there's a lot of ads on in Australian media at the moment, talking about anxiety and talking about like when a boss says, okay, come into the office, and then the mind's going, I'm fired, or like it's putting,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you've seen Beyond Blue and you've seen all those other
Yep. Yep.
organizations. Yeah, no, it's actually getting noticed now, about Dear Mind, and it talks about like this has been a tough year. Be kind to yourself, because I know that I haven't been able to see my friends or attend weddings or attend funerals. Um, so I think everyone has been like experiencing lots of grief and loss, that they can't go to the pub or drink, or like that's when I say that, like obviously it's okay to drink in moderation, but like for an example, I'm seeing a lot of people that their self-care was a nice meal and a nice drink out, and because lockdown was so big in Australia for a little bit, people didn't know what to do with themselves. Like they said, I can't go drink or have a coffee, or I'm stuck at home
Mm.
now with their thoughts, and all the thoughts that they were not, um, it was still in their cortisol brain, but it came out when they couldn't, I guess, self-soothe into
Yep.
that. So
And so do you feel like they've started to learn now, or then
yeah,
lockdown just finished?
yeah, definitely. I feel like a lot of clients that I've worked with, and clients, and even just like friends of the Instagram community that I talk to every day, I find it very interesting now. People are taking time out for themselves. For an example, like I can show you guys on my phone. I've got like a timer, and then it locks me out when I've spent an hour on Instagram. I go, okay, done. I've got a calendar that I can send people. They can book in time with me, and I can set out schedule. So my biggest takeaway with the most impactful lesson is putting boundaries in for your mental health. So like as Satinder is an occupational therapist, I'm you know a support worker, and I do online wellness coaching, and we literally are just always helping people. We need to put in um, boundaries and barriers for ourselves, to
Yeah. Yep.
protect ourselves, as you said so well.
So true. So true.
So I'm loving this conversation. Like I can't stop smiling, and I'm just so grateful for the connection that we've already connected with. So what I think you might have said this, but if you want to go in a little deeper, what are some go-to strategies for mental well-being?
Okay. So I shared a the stress bucket analogy on my Instagram a little while ago. That is one of my go-tos. And like even my husband, he'll be like, you know, how's your bucket? And I'll be like, oh yeah, it's pretty full. And so it's just like that really nice way to communicate what's happening. Or I'll say, you know, I've got stuff happening in here, but I can't really articulate or express what's actually going on. But he'll know that that means that I need time to myself, or that I need an extra hug. Just being able to say that I've got a bucket that is half full or is getting full. And then sometimes when I'm really feeling like overwhelmed, I'll actually draw that out, write it out, and actually show that to my husband. It's just nice having, like, you know, someone else to be able to share in that with me. Yeah, and then after that, it's about putting in the strategies like, okay, I need to get back into exercise or meditate. And especially when I'm really, really overwhelmed, I find that like watching TV is also really good, because it just allows you to pause for a moment. And then while you're watching something, you can kind of like also kind of work on yourself at the same time without it being like overwhelming.
No, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that, and I love your content. And I think there's so many people that that they don't know their bucket until it actually goes empty, or you know, there's little holes in the bucket. So I love how you shared that, because my psychologist from a few years back, she was saying to me that she has this it's like a planter, and it's just fills with water, and you can take out the water and fill up the water. So same thing with her. Her husband would check that planter, see if it's full or see if it's empty. So for an example, if she was having a conversation like about money or budget, or something happened at work, and she checked her wife's plant at like it's going down, obviously that conversation might wait until that goes a little bit up. So these little things that people go, oh, that's silly, but like when you really sit and listen with your body and mind, when you go, okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed, what is it trying to say, how can I, you know, what's it trying to teach me? But yeah, no, I love that that advice, what you said about the bucket, because so many people, we live such frantic lives. And for me personally, I've always lived a frantic life. I don't know a life outside of being busy all the time. I really don't. But saying that, I am who I say I am, and I'm really learning about, you know, putting boundaries in place of timing. So like clock, like I spend a few hours in my business, and then I spend time with my wife. It's not fair if I'm just being there for my clients and posting content. But if I'm not taking the time out for myself, I'm a bit of a hypocrite saying that, you know, this is what to offer. So I think a lot of people need to be selfish in that way of letting their partner know, and taking time out for themselves. So if it means like, because a lot of people are working from home, if it means, okay, I need my space for an hour, you know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep. Yeah. So boundaries is, yeah, another really, really great way of what is it? It's a really good strategy to actually take care of your mental health. Definitely.
Because you're protecting yourself, you're protecting your soul. So when you put in boundaries for, it could be screen time, it could be hanging with people that might make you anxious, or they might bring you down, doesn't mean you have to cut ties with them. You know, I sit in with a lot of there's a lot of psychologists as well on Instagram community, and I chat to them about my content and make sure that it's okay to share as well. And you know, I find that when people get in such a dark way, they've got to remember that, you know, sometimes Instagram's not a really good place to be when you're down.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I've always said to myself and my wife and my friends, or anybody that I've worked with over time, that you don't know what people are going through. So like, you might see they're on holidays, or they got that car, that holiday, or that job, or they're always doing podcasts, or whatever that might look like, or they're always busy, but doesn't mean they're happy. And I think that's what I've learned in the impactful lessons in my mental health recovery, is that I wish, as a quote from Jim Carrey, I wish a lot of people got really successful, really wealthy when they were young, and because then they'll realize that it's not the end all of life. You know, I've talked to a lot of people that have, you know, a lot of money and they're successful and they've got the house, the car, but, you know, if they're not contributing in their day-to-day life, if they're not, you know, I've met a lot of successful people that are quite miserable, to sum it up, because they haven't tapped into what they're here. And the biggest quote from Mark Twain is that I was watching The Equalizer, Denzel Washington. I love that movie. It's a good movie if you haven't seen it. And he said, the quote is the two biggest things in life is the reason. What was it? Sorry? Yeah, the figuring out like when you were born and the reason why you were born. Those two big questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of like the Japanese concept, the ikigai, where it says like, you know, your purpose with what the world needs. It's a really good concept to kind of like get that focus in life. As you figure out that wealth isn't everything. Yeah, it's also what makes you happy and what drives you and what your strengths are, and then a combination of that.
Oh, absolutely. And when you're passionate, the money will come. And like manifesting and the law of attraction, I'm learning about that. And I think, you know, when people have lost their jobs and you see homeless people around, you know, you go to different shopping centers, you know, it's always in our forefront when we see people suffering. And when people have gone through their own hardship, they normally want to help other people. So, yeah, I've definitely learned that, Satinder, about the positive impacts of giving your time, because time you can never get back. You always get more money, but you can never get more time. So like giving your time up. So for an example, I spent 200 hours when I was in school, going to the aged care homes, visiting them, going to like homeless nights, like barbecue dinners, like under the bridge, and just speaking to them and giving them a meal. And then there was also, you know, working with people that are homeless and just seeing if we can help in any way in the school. So, and that was because of my family. When my dad was on the streets, you know, when he lost everything and he was on the streets, it really woke me up, going, it can happen to anyone. When it happens to your family, you can really see that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intense.
So I feel so many people start their spiritual journey in times of hardship, and I definitely know that I have, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to resonate with this. Was this true for you, not just this year, but in your own healing journey?
Yes, 100%. But, you know, this is what happened though. So I think I was in university, and I was just going through like, you know, bad like just friendship breakups, that kind of stuff. And I latched onto this idea of like religion because I'm born in a Sikh family. But that put me into this like whole journey of spirituality and religion. But I was like, it was such a messed up journey because there were people with other ulterior agendas, and they were trying to make me believe in something. Well, they successfully made me believe in other ideas about religion and things that weren't necessarily true from here. And then I started to actually get distant from my religion after about 3-4 years of this. And then thankfully I met my husband, who was like, well, actually you know, your religion is telling you the right stuff, but it's just the people are telling you the wrong stuff about it. And he said, like, you know, you have to make your own relationship with what the spiritual wisdom is, not basing it off what other people are saying. And so yeah, now I'm on this really awesome spiritual journey, and so that's kind of like my drive of sharing spirituality for people, is like, you know, so they don't get trapped, because, you know, that's a vulnerable population. And then people are just wanting to, like, you know, convert you and bring you in, and
Absolutely. No, thank you for sharing that. I think I know there's so many different religions out there, and I know when I was a kid, I was baptized, and I didn't really get a choice, and I went to church, and then obviously there's a whole lot of kettle of fish that talking about like religion and family, and there's a lot of stuff going on with the Royal Commission at the moment, and people going through childhood abuse, and yeah, I think you said something really well. The religion's not failing you; it's the people that are telling you about it. So do your own research. If that fits your soul and your heart, then that's all that matters. Because there's going to be people that don't like a lot of things, but it matters if it matters to you.
Yeah, yeah. And so, what is spirituality for you? And I know you mentioned chakras as well.
Yeah, I think, and because I'm only learning about like is it the sixth eye? No, is it the um what's um the healing on the back? I'm trying to think is it the sixth eye, or I can't remember the name when you see
The when they say like you're seeing beyond just your eyes,
yeah the
third eye.
third eye, yes. I don't know why I
Sixth,
was saying sixth eye.
I guess,
but-
yeah, I don't know.
so
Okay.
the third eye, yeah. So what I'm learning about like the guided meditations, being calm, not having running thoughts, I'm really learning about like what Brodie needs to hear, what Brodie needs to do. And then like, because I've been in so many different jobs this year, I've really figured out, is this serving me? Is this helping me? Is this triggering me? So I definitely feel like yourself with the spiritual journey. I try every day. And when I say I try, sometimes I get on my phone before I check my routine. I've just got to break that habit. But most times I show gratitude. So I've got this gratitude
Mm-hmm.
book. It's actually on the couch, if you can see behind all the books.
Yep.
And then I do journaling just to see where I'm at. And then I do a guided meditation, normally about 30 minutes. I like guided so I can hear what I need to do, and about, breathing in for 4, breathing out, etc. And yeah, I believe that spiritual journey of really being calm and just really being at peace with your own thoughts. And I really don't, when people go, do you have a religion, or what do you believe in? I believe in is just being kind,
Mm-hmm.
and helping people when you can, and just showing gratitude where possible. Because when you show gratitude, you really realize how lucky you are. I was
Yeah.
speaking to my friend today before we jumped on the call, and I'm saying sometimes I forget how lucky I am to live in Australia, to have access to healthcare, to clean water, clean food,
Mm-hmm.
a bed, a blanket. Like, let's break it down. Like all these other things are just a blessing.
Yep.
I,
Mm.
I just think it's just really important to enjoy those little things.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I think spirituality for me is like in in general terms, let's say, there's like a as I understand, there's in my soul, like my soul, right? There's a two parts. There's like a lower self and a higher self. And the higher self is the part of you that is just unaffected. It's literally what keeps you alive, and it's what leaves when we die. It's like just that part. It's the life essence. And obviously that part is inside us. Otherwise, how would I be alive? So if it's inside us, then obviously we can connect to it. So that's the and that's what in the spiritual text is in Gurbani, my reference of spiritual wisdom. That's what's referenced as our pathway to God or whatever we want to say is like that part of us inside us. Like, we can't connect to God externally. We have to connect to the part that's already inside us. And so, whereas the mind is also a part of that, but it's just, its focus is outwards, and its focus is on problem solving outwards rather than looking inwards and being like, whoa, what's over here? What's like, I've got this, like, my source, my creator, the part where I originated from is inside me. And so when I've noticed, like, in my journey, when my mind kind of surrenders to this higher self, that is when I'm calm, because the calmness, like, gratitude and stuff, that's all coming from our heart. Calmness doesn't come from here. And so in gratitude and stuff, it all comes from here. So when our mind is surrendering, be like, okay, let's surrender to this thing, then that's when we automatically become calm and still and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love that. I think, and I'm so, and I love how you're explaining that in your own terms and also professional as well, because I find that there's so many different avenues of the higher self, the lower self, the different chakras of meditations and spirituality journeys. There's a person that I was following quite heavily for a little bit, and I guess I've just fallen out, but I still respect like where his journey is. But Jay Shetty, the guy that he's an author, podcaster, and he also spent a year in stillness. I think it was a monk, monk. And
yeah. I recently visited that place in India.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I didn't realize until we were leaving. We're like, and they were like, "Oh, Jay Shetty was." It was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I was actually blessed by a monk in Thailand for our honeymoon. We went down to Thailand and went to the monk, and there was it was really interesting about just their tradition and just learning. I think what I love about Australia is we've got so many different cultures, and we can just learn from so much from people that's walked before us and walking next to us as well. So I think when Jay Shetty was like, to being still and not talking for a year, all people that know Brodie, that would be very hard, but impossible, as my wife just said in the background. But being still for 30 minutes, just a day, or even 10 minutes, like let's break it down to achievable tasks, like just sitting. What happens when you sit for 10 minutes? Your mind's going to say, I need to do the washing, I need to cook dinner, I need to do this. But like just sitting with that space of calmness can really impact your day, would you think?
Yeah. This kind of, I guess, takes us into the next question in this, where these like newer type of versions, like mindfulness, right? And meditation. Well, I'll share a story. So while I've been traveling, I've also been tutoring online, like English. And I was speaking with a girl from Saudi Arabia, and she was saying, "Oh, I'm interested in meditation," just as a random English topic. And I said, "Well, what have you tried?" And she said, "I tried sitting there and I did the bubble exercise where I pop the thoughts that come into mind." And she said it was terrible. It made me feel worse. It made me feel like I have no control. It's just made my anxiety worse. And like, to me, that was a huge reminder of like these ancient practices. We always had some type of guru, or a higher wisdom that we would take in. Whereas, you could think the higher wisdom is just here, or it could be an external spiritual text, or a person. So there's no person that I follow personally, but to me, it was like, so what is actually in your family? And she said, like, I follow Islam and we have the Quran. And I said, okay, like, do you like resonate with the Quran? And she said, yeah, I guess I do. And I was like, well, maybe it's important for you to actually learn something from the Quran as something like bigger than yourself, because right now your mind is learning from its own mind. And so where's the new wisdom coming from, right? Yeah, I don't know where I was going, but I just had to say that.
No, definitely. I think you were talking about like the next question is, do you think mindfulness, modern meditation, the gratitude movement can have a negative impact on mental well-being?
Right.
You know, exploring spiritual bypassing. So I think, you know, a lot of people, they do a meditation and they bring up memories or their thoughts. And just for an example, your client was saying that, oh, it's just realized that I don't have any control. And at the end of the day is that sometimes, you know, we have maybe, it's in the thousands. I don't want to say a number, but it's in the thousands how many thoughts we have. And I guess when you pay attention to it, obviously it's going to play out in a story. So first, obviously, being mindfulness and have a mindfulness life, and modern meditation can obviously bring up some stuff. It's not going to, you know, it's like going to the gym. You know, you go to the gym for a week and you think you're cured. It's a, and just like psychologists, people go, I've been all the psychologists, psychiatrists, they all, you know, Looney Tunes. It's just, it takes consistent habit to make growth. And so many people, like me, when I was, it's been a long time, this journey of meditation. It's really helped me stop having panic attacks and stopped having me days in bed of just doing nothing. Is just having that routine. So before I check my phone, before I start my business, I show gratitude. Things I'll let go of whatever that's bothering me, things I'll focus on, things that I'm grateful for. And then I do a guided meditation, what I think that would help me. So it could be the chakra balance of the checking where I'm at with my mind, and the 7 steps. And then you've got the, you know, letting go. And there's so many different guided meditations now. It can be actually overwhelming what to choose. But yeah,
I think the one thing that people just need to like remember is that these things are tools to, at the end of the day, help you develop healthier mental health patterns. Like, you know, if we consistently overwhelm ourselves and then we use the same tools to empty our buckets, and then it keeps happening, you know, that's not, again, we're just putting band-aids on ourselves. Then we really need to be like, okay, I've been doing this gratitude for a while now. What have I actually learned? Okay, you know, this thing that I've always been thinking about, it hasn't been working. So now I'm actually going to try and change that like mental pattern that I've made about like it, you know.
No, that's very good. Like, I think a lot of people, they get to the point where they do something so rigid and then they don't try anything else. So you know, it takes longer than 28 days, but to do a habit, I definitely find my spiritual journey of just being grateful, and stop comparing to people's life and beating myself up. And I think my favorite quote or saying is, and my mentor has said it to me, and so many people have said it to me, is just repeating positive affirmations of saying, I'm exactly where I need to be right now in my life. And once you say that in the universe, it goes, okay, cool. Like, you know, it'll start giving you more things once you show that you're comfortable where you're at.
Yeah. And I think it's really interesting with your journey because, like, you know, it started off with just a general, you know, gratitude kind of stuff, and now you're starting to sit in with a really deep sense of gratitude and who you are in life. And that's like real progression of like how it's, yeah. Nice to hear.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's something that I was never really consistent with, and I literally just tried it and gave it a go, and now it's, you know, part of my daily habits. And when I do struggle with anxiety, or I do have a really off day, it's 9 times out of 10 I haven't exercised, I didn't eat well, and I didn't meditate. So it's really interesting that body tells you. You know, I'm not saying that you're going to have the perfect day if you eat well, clean eating, gym. You know, there's always going to be challenges, but as you said it so well, that it's just tools to help you progress. So if meditation might not help you, maybe journaling is, or yoga or breathwork, whatever that might look like for you. Just giving that a go and getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's I think because I think a lot of people are watching our journey and they're seeing different things. So what are some key things people should look out for when people start using spirituality um, for their mental health?
Okay. Okay. I think being aware that right now what uh the what society is selling you is going to be a filtered down version, because that sells, you know, it doesn't sell for me to go on about some ancient wisdom. Whereas if I go on about mindfulness, then like even my Instagram page, you know, all of that is drawn from my ancient spiritual text. But I have to break it down into this mindfulness way, because that's what sells and that's what people can take in. And so
Mm,
what you have to remember is that might not always be a um, full idea of what spirituality is. And so, for example, with you know, the just have faith in the universe, that
yeah.
type of idea. Um, it is it's true, but then you also have to like have this other understanding that there is a sense of responsibility in our mental well-being, and you can't just have faith. You actually do need to have an active change in yourself. And so there's a lot of like little sayings that are going around that don't have like a fullness to them. And so that can
Mm,
kind of create this like split between your spiritual self and who you really are, and not actually integrate the two.
yeah. Wow, that's very deep. And that's that's got my mind. Um,
Yeah, I think I went intense there.
no, it's good because I think a lot of people, like I always say on my Instagram that, Instagram's not therapy. I'm not a
Mm,
doctor. Yes, I've done crisis counseling. Yes, I've worked in mental health, but like, yeah, you're saying that you've shared your own journey and spiritual journey, but you break it down. But it's really interesting how people they they buy things that they don't really want, but then they can't afford things that they really need. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm hearing that a lot.
Mhm.
People go, oh, I can't afford to afford a gym membership, or they can't afford to do like a training or whatever that might look like for personal development. But then they spend 2 grand on an iPhone, or they spend, $300-400 on alcohol or fast food throughout the week, and they don't prep. So it all comes down to organization. And when I mean by organization, so like, you set yourself up to succeed for the week. So, for an example, I know people meal prep on the weekend. So they have weeks worth of,
Yep.
food. They, setting specific goals that are attainable. It's great to say, I want to be a 6-figure earner, or I want to have, for example, I want to have a few thousand followers. I want to set up this business. But I'm like, that's all great saying that, but the universe will take you seriously when you actually start taking that seriously. So setting specific goals, keeping yourself accountable, and really realizing why you want to do this.
Yep.
What I'm finding in my journey as well, it's always having those aha moments when I think that, um, you sit with yourself and go, oh, this is why this is happening, or this is why I need to do this to get to this. So breaking it down
And
is something very important.
And that's one of the most important things that we need to do at the start to avoid having that like split or having that spiritual bypassing thing, is at the start being like, okay, what are my intentions with this meditation and spirituality? What are my goals? Then, and how do I think that I'm going to get there? And so if you write that down, you'll be able to see if you're being unrealistic and like, I'm going to be completely zen, but I'm only going to be doing so much, you know, like what do you actually see yourself as, like benefiting from this spirituality, like
Mm,
being honest with those at the start.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's very insightful, because so many people, they try things, and then if they don't get that instant gratification, and we're all guilty of it. We're all guilty of it.
yeah,
We're
and
in a,
spirituality is not that.
it's not,
Yeah, spirituality is, as you said, like it's investment into yourself. Yeah,
yeah, no,
yeah,
it's
we are
very,
guilty of it.
yeah, and being honest with it, like, the universe, like I used to think like manifestation and having a vision board and law of attraction is all rubbish. And then I started diving deep into the holistic program that I work with my clients, and becoming a wellness coach, and really being the whole body of it. I've really realized that, not all the time that it's going to get to where I am, but like the universe is showing me, like, I started this blog in March, I shared my mental health, and then someone saw me saying, you'd be an awesome coach and help people on health and wellness. That wouldn't happen if I didn't decide to start a blog. And then, I'm reaching out to people like yourself, sharing podcasts, sharing stories, and it wouldn't have happened if I didn't get out of my comfort zone. So I think once you start
taking the small steps.
Yeah, taking the small steps, taking this more seriously. And a favorite saying in the business that I work in the health and wellness space, they say, in order to get what you want in life, you've got to get help other people get what they want in life first. And it's just so true in every word, because you're always helping people, and then once you help people, then you get the results as well. So people sometimes forget, it's not just give, and it's also not take. It's got to find that balance as well.
Yeah, definitely. Again, that's again coming into that whole surrendering ourselves and putting other people in, so that we can take in a different life lesson.
Yeah, and I've learned so much about your journey and what you're doing as well, and it's just so exciting to. I know when I get off this call that I'm just going to really look into why I'm meditating, why I'm journaling. So it's been an incredible conversation. Is there anything that you'd like to ask me, or something that you'd like to touch base on, or summarize what we've talked about?
So I did want to say one thing with mental health, for anyone that's listening that's actually going through, like, severe anxiety right now or depression. Sometimes, like, it's the idea of spirituality is, it looks very pretty, it looks very shiny, you want to go there, you want to do that, but at that stage, like, my personal suggestion is to connect with your body first, and to not put that spirituality on a pedestal, because your mind right now with depression, anxiety, in the frame that I see it, is like it's overly like powerful right now, and to bring that down into like control is going to take so much. And for you to try and, like, this meditation kind of stuff, it would feel defeating if you tried it and it didn't work. Whereas what I'm trying to suggest is connect with your body first, and the type of things that you really need to be focusing on, it's still spirituality, is like eating the good food, the exercise, connecting with people that fill your cup. And then once your mind has kind of settled, I guess, that's when you're more receptive to what spirituality is about.
I've literally got goosebumps. That was so
Okay.
so good. So good. Like, I'm just, the clients that you have, they must have so lucky to have you as an OT, because I think people look at our account and look at everything, and they go, look, that's great for them, that's worked for them, it doesn't work for me. So I think breaking down small steps, saying, okay, maybe meditating or journaling might not be for me yet, but just really sitting with that in that body embodiment, and really seeing what's happening, because it takes small steps every day to become a better person holistically. I really think we can't put celebrities or people on Instagram or just anybody on a pedestal, because everyone is going through their own journey. And 9 times out of 10, if you get to listen or hear their journey, it's normally a lot of pain before victory as well.
And I guess, like, to to finish a kind of on a lighter note, is there anything like on a spiritual kind of thing that you're just like, like as if, or like what is, I don't know, like, that feeling?
Yeah. Ah, I guess I'll share this because I shared this before, the vision board. So I've been putting my dream car up, that I want to get, and
Okay.
my wife and I, like, before I actually understood the power of manifestation, the power of asking the universe what we're grateful, what we want. On a lighter note, guys, um, like you put your car up on a vision board, you look at it, and you look at it everywhere, but you still don't have the freaking car. You don't have the car. You look at the car every day, and you just go, great, I see that car. You look at your bank balance, you go, I can't even afford to go to the park. Like, I think people need to not think that, like, it's instant gratification, and I think I love this, and I want to share this with the viewers, that I didn't get to know your name, and we're talking about Tinder. You're like, just, it's Tinder with Sa. So what I'm talking about is that everyone in life, they want fast food, get Uber Eats. If they want a date, Tinder. If they want um, you know instant gratification. So I think what Satinder said so well is that just sit with what you're going through at the moment. Obviously, depression, anxiety is, I think it's the top, in the World Health Organization, the top percentage of suffering, alongside cancer. So it's out there, and everyone's got their own journey. So if you don't feel comfortable, doing the things we've discussed, really, there's other avenues as well. We just touch base on, what's worked for us, and what's the positive. But also, yeah, on a lighter note, there's also some funny things, like, as I was saying, like when I'm really anxious or really overwhelmed, I'm listening to some calming meditation, and I'm like, just like, come on, just deep breaths. But you've got to meditate when you're happy as well, guys. Even if it might look very different to you, there's so many different meditations. Just sit with yourself, maybe in a quiet area in your backyard, or even in the car before work. Just sit with yourself for 5 minutes, and then you really realize what your mind and body is trying to tell.
Nice, very nice. Yeah,
So
I
I'm
think
so
that's a good place.
Absolutely. So I'm so grateful for your time, and all the answers and all the beautiful questions as well. And yeah, if you want to see more of Satinder and her Instagram, it's the Best Life OT, and definitely follow her. I'll put that up on my GTV. But I just want to thank you for your time, and all the wisdom that you gave us today.
Thank you so much for having me here. Seriously, I enjoyed it so much.
It was my pleasure. You enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm sure that I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.